Imagine being the man who captured every intimate breath of the British monarchy for nearly half a century. Arthur Edwards isn't just a photographer, he is the eyes of the institution. He stood on the hospital steps for the births of William, Harry, and all their children, documenting the literal continuation of a 1,000-year-old bloodline. But when Meghan Markle's moment arrived, the shutters were forced shut. For the first time in modern history, a veteran with 45 years of clearance was treated like a common trespasser. The palace didn't just request privacy, they enforced a total media blackout that felt less like a protective bubble and more like a tactical extraction. Why would the most famous woman in the world, a woman who flourished under the glow of Hollywood lights, suddenly fear the very cameras that could validate her story? It was the first crack in a narrative that would soon set the digital world on fire, leaving experts to wonder what was being hidden behind those heavy palace doors. The internet is a place where nothing stays buried for long, and when a viral clip from the Sussex's own documentary surfaced, it sent shockwaves through the medical community. In the footage, a heavily pregnant Meghan is seen dropping into a deep, effortless squat before popping back up with the agility of a yoga instructor. To the casual viewer, it's a display of fitness, but to millions of mothers and orthopedic specialists, it looked like a glitch in reality. At 9 months gestation, the human center of gravity shifts entirely, making such a maneuver not just difficult, but biologically baffling. This was the birth of the Moonbump theory, a speculation fueled not by hate, but by the sheer defiance of physics. Skeptics began zooming in on frames where the belly appeared to fold or sway in ways that organic tissue simply doesn't. Was this a display of incredible athletic prowess, or were we watching a meticulously staged performance designed to maintain a perfect image while the real story happened elsewhere? Every royal birth comes with a receipt, a formal signed document posted on a golden easel at Buckingham Palace. It is the legal proof that a new heir has entered the line of succession, of the body. Yet when it came to Archie Harrison, the paperwork felt like a riddle wrapped in an enigma. Rumors began to swirl that the hospital staff were forced to sign NDAs that rivaled national security briefings. Even more bizarre were the reports surrounding the lead obstetrician, a highly respected doctor whose involvement seemed to evaporate the moment the press started asking questions. In the US, we call this a ghost story. There were no sightings, no celebratory statements from the medical team, and a timeline of the birth that seemed to shift depending on which official you asked.
For a family that prides itself on military precision, the arrival of the Sussex heir was a chaotic mess of redacted details and missing signatures, leaving a vacuum that the public was only too happy to fill with suspicion. On a quiet morning in May, a single post appeared on the official royal family social media account that nearly broke the monarchy. For a few brief, terrifying minutes, a tweet allegedly announced that the Duke and Duchess had welcomed a child via a surrogate. Then, as quickly as it appeared, it was scrapped from the internet. The palace scrambled, claiming a security breach or a hack, but in the age of the screenshot, nothing is ever truly deleted. This wasn't just a typo, it was a potential constitutional crisis. Under British law, a child must be born of the body to hold a place in the line of succession. If that tweet contained a grain of truth, it meant the very foundation of the Sussex's royal status was built on a legal fiction. The silence that followed was deafening. No one explained how a hacker would target such a specific controversial topic, leaving the world to wonder if a palace staffer had accidentally told the truth before the PR machine could reel it back in. In the heart of London, secrets are usually kept in vaults, but this secret involved a person. The doctor who allegedly delivered the first Sussex baby became a figure of intense fascination.
Usually, the royal surgeon gynecologist is a celebrated figure, but this time, the primary physician seemed to vanish into thin air. Reports surfaced that her husband couldn't even confirm her presence at the birth, and shortly after the event, her medical practice saw an abrupt and mysterious shift. In the high-stakes world of royal optics, people don't just disappear unless they've seen something that doesn't fit the script. Was she a victim of the intense media pressure, or was she a witness to a procedure that didn't align with the official palace narrative? In America, we love a whistleblower, but in the UK, the machinery of silence is a well-oiled engine. The more the palace pushed the privacy angle, the more it looked like they were protecting a witness rather than a patient. Queen Elizabeth II was the master of saying everything while saying nothing at all. She didn't need to give an interview to Oprah to make her feelings known. She just needed a camera and a desk. During her final Christmas broadcasts, the world noticed a chilling detail. The framed photograph of Harry, Meghan, and Archie had been removed from her table. To the untrained eye, it's just decor. But in the world of royal protocol, every object is a calculated message. That empty space was a tactical strike. It signaled that the Sussexes were no longer in the frame of the monarchy's future.
The Queen was a woman who valued born of the body traditions above almost all else, and her decision to scrub their image from her broadcast felt like a grandmotherly unfollowing on a global scale. It was the ultimate royal mic drop, a silent confirmation that the bond had been severed and that the truth behind the Sussexes' image was no longer being protected by the crown. When the scene shifted to California for the birth of Lilibet, the mystery didn't solve itself. It just changed zip codes. The Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital was supposed to be the backdrop for the new American royal chapter. Yet when local parents and journalists began poking around, the hospital's response was a masterclass in PR doublespeak. They issued vague statements about COVID-19 protocols and mask mandates that seemed to contradict the timeline of the Sussexes' own footage. Digital sleuths in the US began a frame-by-frame analysis of the hospital room shown in the documentary, comparing crown moldings, medical ports, and even the view from the windows. The results? A confusing patchwork of inconsistencies that suggested the birth room might have been a private suite or a staged set. When a multi-billion-dollar Netflix contract is on the line, the truth often becomes whatever looks best in 4K resolution, leaving the actual facts of the delivery lost in a sea of cinematic filters. Why go to such lengths to curate a pregnancy? The answer is simple: the brand.
Meghan and Harry didn't just move to California to find peace. They moved to build an empire. And that empire required a specific image: the relatable, glowing mother and the protective, modern prince. If the Moonbump rumors or surrogacy claims were ever proven true, the narrative of authenticity they sold to Spotify and Netflix would crumble instantly. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars tied to a persona of transparency. In the US market, faking it is the ultimate sin. The pressure to maintain the illusion of a perfect traditional royal pregnancy while simultaneously trashing royal tradition created a paradox that was bound to explode. Every strange squat, every shifting belly, and every banned photographer wasn't just a personal choice, it was a business decision. The Sussexes weren't just protecting their privacy, they were protecting their IPO, and in the world of big tech and streaming, a scandal like this is a total system failure. This isn't just about celebrity gossip or who wore what at the baby shower. This is about the law of the land. The British line of succession is a sacred algorithm that determines who holds the power of the state. By including children in that line whose births are shrouded in secrecy and NDAs, the Sussexes have placed the monarchy in a legal minefield.
If a future investigation ever reveals that the born of the body requirement wasn't met, it wouldn't just affect Harry. It would call into question the legitimacy of the entire royal registry. This is why the palace's "never complain, never explain" mantra has turned into a desperate "keep quiet and pray." They are sitting on a constitutional time bomb. In the US, we see it as a drama, but in London, it's a threat to the very existence of the crown. The silence isn't dignity. It's a desperate attempt to avoid a legal reckoning that could dethrone the most famous family on the planet.
As we stand in 2026, the Sussex image has shifted from royal rebels to PR enigmas. The world is no longer satisfied with soft focus montages and scripted interviews. We live in an era of receipts, and the receipts for the Sussex pregnancies simply don't add up. From the banned lenses of Arthur Edwards to the ghost doctors of London, every piece of the puzzle points to a story that was manufactured rather than lived. But as the old saying goes, the truth always finds a trending hashtag. The more the palace hits mute, the louder the internet turns the volume. This was never just about a baby bump. It was about the moment the most powerful brand in the world lost control of its own reflection. But if you think the pregnancy mystery is the deepest rabbit hole, you haven't seen the recent leaks regarding their private security.
Click the next video to see the explosive data that just hit the dark web, because the Sussex Empire is about to face its darkest hour yet.